at Pepsi Center in Denver. The Colorado Avalanche can continue their spoiler role with a win against the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets need a victory to secure a place in the playoffs, while the Avs could put a hurting on their division rival. From Lodo, Altitude presents Colorado versus Winnipeg. And good evening, I'm Mike Haynes along with Peter McNabb, and for the Avalanche, down to the last 2 games, but a good performance the other night against Nashville. And Peter, we have seen all season long the development and continued development of players like Matt Duchene and Ryan O'Reilly starting to come right into their prime.
Absolutely, especially, Mike, for these kids that come into the league now when they're 18 years old. I've always felt the first 6 years represent the learning process. You learn how to be a pro. You learn how to physically take care of yourself. You learn about the league. You get in around 400 games in the National Hockey. Well, starting next year, it will be year 7 for Matt Duchene and Ryan O'Reilly. And we know what Duchene brings, the speed, the power. We have seen him become so much stronger on the ice, and he's just coming in to the real meat of his career, as is Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly, I can't tell you how much I respect what he's done this year. 2 years ago, center. Last year, left wing. This year, back at center. Done a great job at faceoffs. He was drafted the 2nd pick in 09 after Matt Duchene in the 1st pick that year. And Mike, again, another guy that has just now bigger. He's stronger. He knows the game. And going into next year, they're going right into the wheelhouse of the best part and the most fun part, I think, of their career, because their body and mind come together in this stage of their career.
All right, let's talk about tonight's game. And not only this game, but there are other games in the Western Conference being played tonight that could decide by the end of this evening who is in the playoffs in the West.
For our game, most importantly, Winnipeg wins and they're in. And this game is going to be a big watch in Winnipeg. Believe me, a lot of people watching the game. The other one that's really interesting, will the LA Kings be knocked out of the playoffs by the Calgary Flames? And that place is just going to be going wild. And Bob Hartley is going to have those guys going. What a game. So there's a couple of really fun, big games going on in tonight's action. And
for the Winnipeg Jets, Peter, their captain, Andrew Ladd, trying his best tonight to get them into the playoffs.
And Mike, this is a leader. I mean, he's won a cup with Carolina. He's won a cup with Chicago. He knows what it takes. He's 29 years old now. He wants so desperately to bring this club into the playoffs for the first time since coming from Atlanta. And Brian Little, who has been an Avalanche killer all season long, 5 goals against the Avalanche in just 4 games. He was injured, and now he's back. And when you look at this Winnipeg Jet lineup, they are deep. They've got some real good offensive weapons, but they are a club that if you're not ready to play physically, they will come at you. So this is going to be a great matchup for the Avalanche tonight.
All right. For the Avalanche, they know they're not going to be going to the playoffs. For the Winnipeg Jets, they need 2 points to get in for the first time in their franchise history since 2007. For the Avalanche, they want to continue what they did on Tuesday against Nashville and continue to play that spoiler role as tonight they take on the Winnipeg Jets.
Sports game break, the Avs and the Jets in just a minute. Kyle Keefe here in the Altitude Studios. Rock solid season for Alex Tanguay. 22 goals, 54 points on the season. Tonight, a big matchup with the Winnipeg Jets. Earlier, Mike Haynes caught up with him.
Thank you very much. Sure appreciate it, Kyle. Well, Alex, I know as a team a disappointing season, but for you, coming back from last year after that injury, it seems at least stats-wise you had a good year. As you look back on it, how was your season?
You know, obviously a little bit of a tough start for all of us and myself included personally, but I knew I could still play. Last year I started great and I still feel great physically, and I know I got more hockey in me. Hopefully I can be a little bit more productive next year, but we have a long time to recover and get ready for next year now.
Well, as a team, as you look at this season, what gives you some hope? What would you tell Avalanche fans about looking forward to the next season?
Well, the way we've been playing the last 2 months, I think we've been as competitive as any team in the league. You look at our record through that time, and, maybe it's been a little bit more difficult here since we've been eliminated, but I think we've got all the tools. This young core has got a lot of talent, a lot of skills. We faced adversity this year. Hopefully we learn from it, but next year we'll be hungry from day one, I promise you that.
All right, well, it's been fun watching you play this season. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah.
That's Alex Tanguay. Back to you now, Kyle.
All right, for the Winnipeg Jets, it's win and you're in. Hopefully the Avalanche can spoil those plans. Thanks for watching this Avalanche game break. It's the Avs and Jets next on Altitude.
Colorado Avalanche Hockey on Altitude is brought to you by Dodge. See your local Dodge dealer and experience a world of performance, design, and fuel efficiency. Or go to Dodge.com and check out our powerful lineup. Bank of Colorado. If you're like most people, you could use some extra cash. Open an account and get $100 at bankofcolorado.com. Pepsi, proud to be the official soft drink of the Colorado Avalanche. CU Denver. See how CU Denver learns with purpose at learnwithpurpose.org. And by Chevy. Stop in your Colorado Chevy dealer today to learn about the Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead. Ready to drop the puck to begin tonight's game between the Avalanche and the Winnipeg Jets. The puck is dropped, and here we go. Avs and Jets meet again. And for the Avalanche, trying to get their second win of the season against the Jets. Fifth game of the year between these two Central Division rivals. Jets have the puck to the point. Shot on goal, and it's off the stick into the corner. Dug out by Frolik for Winnipeg to the point. Shot on goal. Again, a save made by Barrett. Frolik trying to circle behind the net. Lewis broke that up for the Avalanche. Back up the wing, punch into the corner. Duchesne threw the puck out in front for the defenseman Nick Holden, and pass out to center ice. Pushed ahead for Mitchell from Iginla. Duchesne goes to the front of the net. The puck comes behind. Duchesne darts behind the net and can get to it. Up the board, trying to get it to Iginla. Lifted away, sent out towards center ice. Handled by Nate Gennon. Quick pass across for O'Reilly. Comes into the zone. Stripped away by Tyler Myers. We'll be getting into his story, why he is now playing for the Winnipeg Jets, and what a big piece of the puzzle he can be for this Winnipeg Jet team in their quest to get into the playoffs. Jets have the puck in the slot. Poke check out to center ice, pushed ahead by Landeskog. As he did that, he would have knocked the puck ahead, but the Jets get it again. Stafford came along with Tyler Myers from Buffalo in a big deal. Had the puck for a moment, then back the other way by the Avs. We're a minute and a half into the first period. No score in our game, just beginning things. Backhanded off the wall by Stempniak. That's broken up. Back to the neutral zone, and the hero the other night, Joey Hishin, who scored his first NHL goal and it proved to be the game winner for the Avs in their 3-2 victory over Nashville. Shot from the corner, swung wide. There's a battle going on for the puck. Stempniak able to free up the puck, comes out to center. McLeod going at it with Matthew Perreault. And Perreault skates away, but there's going to be a penalty on McLeod. It's a delayed penalty. McLeod gets away with the puck, tipped out to center ice, and the Avs touch it. And there's going to be a penalty on the Avalanche. But first, let's talk about our forward starting lineup and the goaltenders tonight. And is there a goaltender right now playing better than Andrei Pavelec?
Statistically impossible. The last two games he's played, Mike, and this was what's so impressive. Red O'Barron, good goal for the Colorado Avalanche, a well-deserved start here at home. But Andrei Pavelec, Mike, the last two games in Minnesota, in St. Louis, a 2-0 and a 1-0 win, like in back-to-back night, one night and the next night games. There was not even a day off in between. Not very often do you see a guy get a shutout in back-to-back
First
games.
time in franchise history.
First time in franchise history. So, you know, what a performance.
He's become the guy now, hasn't he? 9-2 in his last 11, and it appears that this is the guy they're going to ride through the playoffs if they are able to get in. They still need a couple more points to guarantee them a spot in the playoffs. Shot goes wide. Cody McLeod, a roughing penalty at 2:13, and Winnipeg, they've been good this year against the Avalanche. They are 4 for 16 with power play opportunities this season against Colorado. Overall, the league, they're right in the middle of the pack at 16th in the National Hockey League. They do have some talent. Shot, and a blocker save made by Barrett. Behind the net, Blake Wheeler sends the puck to the far side wing. It is handled by Brian Little. Boy, he had some games against the Avalanche this season. Trouba from the point. Shot save made by Barrett. Rebound along the far wall. In the slot, all alone was Perreault. And it wouldn't control the puck initially. By the time he did, Hayden was all over him. The Jets keep it in the Avalanche zone. Bouncing puck. Tipped towards the near side half boards. Hayden gave it away to Perreault. Slides it back. Shot through traffic. And that gets blocked, but picked up again by Trouba. Shot Tough angle off of Barrett to the near corner, and Perot's got it for the Jets. They control the puck in the Avalanche zone on this power play. 40 seconds left in the McLeod penalty. So far, 2 shots on goal. That shot got tipped. Perot's got it against the near boards. Back towards the point, and it's tipped to center ice. 30 seconds left in the McLeod penalty. Late pass, and big Tyler Myers winding his way through. Carries the puck to the corner, the former Buffalo Sabre. Rookie of the year. Into the corner with a puck for a leak, trying to go back to the point, but it got tipped and out into center ice, and the Avalanche have it. It's Freddie Hamilton cruising in. That's going to eat up the rest of the time on the power play, so the Avalanche able to kill the penalty. McLeod is out of the box, and the Jets are 0 for 1 tonight.
Mike, way back behind the play, Brad Stewart got tied up, I believe, with Frolik, and he is going to the locker room as we speak right now, and he limped off.
From the point, shot through some traffic in front of the net. Did not make it to the cage. Collision in the corner. Thorburn puts the puck behind the net. It was Thorburn who had the only goal in that last 1-0 win for the Winnipeg Jets. The puck is flicked out of play. We got to stop with a little less than 5 minutes gone in our first period. No score.
Well, kind of. You're going to watch. It's going to be in the corner. He's tied up, and now Frolik comes in and across. No, I was wrong. It wasn't 60. It was 57. Big Tyler Myers. Stewart got tied up with them. And when he got up, Mike, he just limped to the bench and went right through the locker room.
Avalanche lost another player due to injury in the last game in Nashville. Tough injury to Dennis Everberg. Long-term injury, a shoulder injury, and according to Coach Waugh this morning, that you're looking at 6 months to come back from that.
And that takes you all the way into training camp. And just unbelievably changes your summer. You go from trying to get in better shape to rehabbing. And Mike, they're 2 entirely different ways of treating your summer.
Jets with the puck, scoreless first period. Long pass to center for Stepniak. Sends the puck down the slot. Oh, that's a dangerous play. The Avalanche player had his skates lifted off the ice and then went sliding into the backboards. That was Joey Hishin. Dangerous little situation there for Joey Hishin.
I mean, it's one of those ones, Mike, when you see a guy fall, start his fall, Mike, just at the goal line. Mike, you don't have time to do anything. Watch, Hishin right there. He gets picked up literally and is flying in midair. There's no way you can stop anything. You're just going to have to go in with whatever you hit first. Unfortunately, Hishin was able to get up and get to the bench.
But a power play chance now for Colorado because of that. And the Avalanche on the power play for the first time in this game. 2 for 15 this season against Winnipeg. So Harrison in the box. Avs with the man advantage. A tripping penalty at 5:22. Hold on. Jay Harrison. You got to be wary of this Winnipeg Jets team, Peter. They lead the league in shorthanded goals. They've had 10 of them this year. 4 of them scored by Blake Wheeler. From the point, shot by Tyson Barrie, deflects to the corner. And off of Barrie and out to center. The Avs score the power play. A lucky winner will get Avalanche tickets to an upcoming game, courtesy of American Lifestyle Furniture. For a chance to win, register at afwonline.com/altitude. Power play continues for the Avs, just about halfway through the Harrison penalty. And a scoreless first period from Denver, Colorado. Shot to the net, save made by Pavlik, and then he kicked it away to the corner. Lifted up off the glass. And pitched for it back down into the corner by Barrie for O'Reilly. One hand into the corner, 45 seconds left in the penalty. Ginla. Handoff goes to O'Reilly. Finds Barrie at the blue line, takes it off the skate, gives it back to O'Reilly, gives it back to Barrie. One-timer Ginla misses the net. And it back around to the half court for O'Reilly. Handoff goes to Landeskog. He leads the team with 8 power play goals this season. The chip pass for Tanguay. Down low, O'Reilly. He had the Ginla Going to the front of the net. Scramble for the pocket. Comes free. McGinley's got it. To Tanguay. Shot gets tipped. And the puck has gone out of play.
Well, good work by the Avalanche, especially in the last 40-45 seconds of that power play. Everybody moving around, down low. McGinley just about got through. McGinley was open on the far side. Nice passing by the Avalanche at the end. And at the end, Tanguay just missed his shot high to the far side.
Jets get to the puck after the faceoff. Smashed around and out. And the puck eventually going down towards goaltender Reto Berra. Steals the puck for Redmond. That's it. A couple of shots on net for the Avalanche. Not able to score. Both teams 0 for 1 tonight in the power plays. And we are scoreless in the first period. Comes back for the puck. John Mitchell. Goes up and out to center. Bounce back out. And chipped ahead. And a good hit by Holden on Andrew Ladd, the Winnipeg Jets captain. Backhand in. Swung back into the near side corner for Myers. Starting to skate out to center. Makes the pass towards Ladd. He shoots the puck in. Chased back behind the net by Adam Lowry. Surrounded by Avalanche in the corner. And the puck taken away by Kishin. Shoots the puck to center. Back into the Winnipeg zone.
And Mike, if Stewart's going to be out for this game, you hope he's not. That means 3, 4, 5 minutes more for each defenseman. Plus, changing defensive partners. We saw Holden out there on the left side, where he's been playing the right side exclusively in the last few games.
Jets with the puck. Perreault. Pass. Banged back down the boards and kicked into the corner by Harrison. And the puck comes free for the Jets to handle. To the near point. Adams Hardy. Shot tipped wide to the net. Flowers pass towards the point. Comes out to center ice. And Fleece backhands it back into his own zone. So we played 9 minutes in the first period. 3 shots for the Jets. A couple shots for the Avs. Both of those coming on the power play. There we are at 0-0. Mark Stewart for the Winnipeg Jets. Sends the puck up the ice, and now it's a race. Stafford catches up with the puck, charges in the front of the net, walks right in, circle behind the net, wrap around out in front. It's flicked away by Tyson Barron. The Avs are on the move. Landeskog. Stafford comes back to Landeskog. Strong on the puck, makes the pass over towards Barry. He's able to find Tanguay. Back to Barry in the corner. To Tanguay. Back up to Landeskog. To Tanguay. Flipped it out in front of the net. O'Reilly. Tanguay. Back to the point. Hayda shoots. And a blocker save made by goaltender Andre Pavelin. Landeskog for Colorado. Good shift here for the Avalanche. A lot of time in the Winnipeg zone. Shot off the chest of Pavelin. Shifley. And Stafford after the puck, but the Avs keep it inside the zone. That was a strong shift for Colorado.
And the Avalanche really wanted to have a different sort of start to this game than last game.
Slater couldn't get to that puck. Myers in. Shot save made by Berra. That play we saw just a moment ago where Slater was coming down the ice, Peter, you talked about it. It's something that we're seeing more and more in the National Hockey League. You send the puck up high in the air and hope then that your guy can outrace everybody to the puck.
Area passes. They're trying anything to get more offense in the game.
Mitchell behind the Winnipeg net. Handoff goes to Duchesne. A couple of nice shifty moves. Staying strong on the puck. Bounces it back down for a Ginla. Lines the puck across. Holden keeping it in. Another good shift happening for the Avalanche. Back to the point. Holden's pass broken up. Played off the glass and out.
I was just going to say, last game against Nashville, the Avalanche were getting no shot back. I believe, Mike, was 10-0 for Nashville before the Avalanche really got going offensively. And right now, halfway through the period, a little bit more. Shots are 4-4.
The look at the last couple of games that happened in Los Angeles against the Kings, where they were outshot, and against Nashville. But not tonight. Shots are even. So's the score, 0.
Like Mike, he's had 122 minutes coming into tonight's game, so he's added about another 12 minutes to that and continue to grow. I think Patrick Roy really stressed today that the club, like, the spoiler role is one thing, you use that, but the idea as a franchise, we're moving forward. That's what he said. We're just going to keep learning and understanding ourselves and doing the right things all the way through.
Bouncing puck at center, tipped in over the line from Landeskog. Last time out, this line was just terrific. Sending the Jets in their own zone. Little pass for Frolik. The Avs steal it away. Brought in offside by Landeskog.
Well, very impressive because the pressure was on. Like, it was interesting for the Los Angeles Kings and Winnipeg, Mike. They both had 3 games in the same time frame. LA went 1-1-1, 3 points. Pavelec leading the way. They went 3-0 for 6 points. And that's right now is pretty much the difference between LA out and Winnipeg in. So Pavelec has been huge for the Winnipeg Jets.
And you think about, Peter, for Avalanche fans or hockey fans, recall back to that game against St. Louis when he allowed a shot from almost center ice in the final minute to beat him, and the Jets got no points against the Blues. Since then, you think, well, that team could have just taken a nosedive. He could have, but boy, credit to him and the team. They did not.
And for Paul Maurice, coach, sticking with him. He thinks that it's number 1. In the last 11 games since that goal, he is 9-2, Mike, with a 1.63. And, you know, after the game, he talked about it. He would not talk to reporters right after. He said, what was I going to say? You know, he talked to them the next day and said, you know what? I just have to be better. I have to be aware and whatever. But I think, you know, he just buckled down and has been fantastic.
So far, the Avalanche have had 4 shots on him. Have not been able to solve him tonight yet. Pass comes up the ice, tipped in by Stepniak. Bumped off the shelf, and it climbs over the glass, and the puck has gone out of play.
Well, Mike, this is just a great story. For so long, the Avalanche were the West. Paul Maurice was coaching in the East. I don't think people realize. At 48 years old, like 48, this is his 1,200th game in the National Hockey League. He has coached in Hartford in 95-96, his first year, Carolina, Toronto, Carolina again, now Winnipeg, and is an unbelievable coach. And here's I just thought it was a great number. Second fastest to 500 wins, second youngest, pardon me, to 500 wins in the history of this league. Only Scotty Bowman was younger.
He gets a lot of credit for what he has done. He took over late last year, and he got off wasn't the start that they wanted this year. But boy, he's done a terrific job, and he's got him right on the edge of getting into the playoffs. For the franchise, that would be the first time since the 2006-2007 season. And that was a year, they had 97 points that year. If the Jets get another 2 points, that would establish a franchise best point total in the season. Shot from the near side by Stafford off of Barrett. The Avalanche retrieve the puck behind the net. With it is Nate Gennon.
And I think it's a little bit of a side story, but it is part of it. Like, you and I have been going to Winnipeg. Is that place ready for a playoff game? Oh my goodness. They are just waiting for that. Because it's been, I believe it was 95-96, they actually were in a playoff series. And this franchise, Atlanta Winnipeg, has never won a playoff game.
And the year they made it under coach Bob Hartley that year, they were swept in the first round. But you got to think in Winnipeg, which, boy, they just live and die with their Jets. How many people are watching the game in Winnipeg tonight? It's just got to be everybody and everything in town is stopped trying to see if their team can make it into the playoffs.
Talking to the TV guys, you know, for them, they're saying that their numbers are absolutely unbelievable. Nobody expected them. They expected them to be high. No one thought they'd be this high.
You can only imagine. There's just so many big games, and it started the same time as our game started, the game between Calgary and Los Angeles. And that game has huge implications as well to who will make the playoffs in the West. Amazing to think, Peter, the defending Stanley Cup champion Los Angeles Kings if the Jets win, if Calgary wins. Wow.
Yeah.
What a change for a defending champion.
And not just defending champion, Mike. 11 Stanley Cup playoff series the last 3 years. Cup, 3 rounds deep, cup. And it might, ultimately it may be just too much. They may not have anything left. Well, we'll see tonight, because I guarantee you, Bob Hartley's going to have Calgary, flying in that game.
It'll be a fun place to see a game as well. Still scoreless in our game. 4.5 to go in the first. No score. And the puck chased back into the Winnipeg zone. Pavlik to the corner for Myers. Lines it around. Quick pass to center for Stepniak. That is the Winnipeg Jets team. They've gone through a series of injuries. One of the biggest trades of the season happened as well near the trade deadline. And one of their best players, Dustin Byfuglien, currently serving a 4-game suspension. This is the 4th game of that suspension. We'll be back with more first period play in Denver. No score.
We're back at the Pepsi Center. It is scoreless in the first between Winnipeg.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Well, for the 2 goaltenders, they weren't tested a lot, but they were both solid in that first period. And you look at both of these goaltenders, obviously, Pavlik right now is really running a hot streak for the Winnipeg Jets. But, at the other end, Red O'Bara. Mike Steen's coming in at about the, 11-minute mark in Edmonton. He had that game, and then 3 other games he started. He is now, he is having a real good run. But Pavlik is the guy, Mike, right now for these Winnipeg Jets. I mean, there is a lot of pressure. There is so much.
Let's take a look at Ondrej Pavlik, who is in the groove, brought to you by Groove Subaru.
And you look at his number, Mike, when it's been at its highest, the emotion, the pressure, he has been at his best, Mike. Those are 4 top road games, and he has allowed 2 goals. And I just go down to those Minnesota St. Louis, because they both needed those games. It wasn't as if like a Rangers tonight against Ottawa, where they were resting guys. I mean, Minnesota desperately needed that game to get themselves in the playoffs and keep pushing in that Central Division. And then St. Louis, I mean, that was a big one for first place in Central Division.
We begin our second period at Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. The Avalanche, for the 12th time this year, wearing their 3rd jerseys, those blue ones. Good record when they've worn this season. They're 9-2. Pass goes up the boards in front of the benches. Turned back into the Winnipeg zone by Mitchell of Colorado. Ginla arrives for the puck. Freed up, and Frolik comes to center. Chips the puck in. Against the back of the netting. Taken away. Hader. Handoff goes to Tyson Barrie. As with 5 shots in the first period, 8 for Winnipeg. Each team had a power play opportunity. Ryan O'Reilly makes the pass to Barrie. Stood up as he came to the blue line. A little chip off the glass. Sends the puck back into the Colorado zone. Barrie out to meet the puck. Snapped it around, but waiting as Wheeler. Pass in front. Blocked it, still loose and covered. It is underneath the leg pads of goaltender Reto Berra.
Mike, just a quick update. No Brad Stewart as we look at a replay of this last play. And what it does do for the defenseman for the Colorado Avalanche, Mike, you look at Tyson Barrie, 8 minutes and 40 seconds in that first period, because Stewart only played 1 minute and 39, so Patrick Roy has to be mixing and matching the defenseman.
That's on the move. Tanguay went left and cut back to his right, but the puck squirted away. Ripped back out through center ice and back into the Av zone. Again, it's pass. Tanguay to O'Reilly. Stepping up, Stafford lose the puck to O'Reilly of the Avs. Pass across for Tanguay. Hops over his stick. Takes a whack at it. Finds it and pushes in front of the Winnipeg net. Jets on the move. Out of center, Blake Wheeler. Pushing the puck into the Colorado end. Back to get it, Gabe Landeskog. Looking to make that outlet pass, and it's knocked down with a glove. The Jets have got the puck. Thoreau, tripped by Landeskog. Delayed penalty. And it's touched by Holden, and the Jets are about to get their second power play opportunity of the game.
And one thing for the Winnipeg Jets, they are a first goal team. They are tied for the lead in the National Hockey League with 49 first goals of the game.
And they've had the last 4 games.
Last
they've done
four
it, right?
games they've done it. So this is an area now if they go on the power play with an opportunity to get their 50th first goal of the year. First goal of the game this year.
Tripping is the call on Landeskog.
Avalanche penalty, number 92.
Penalty being called at 2:10. Well, a couple early period penalties called on the Avs. McLeod at 2:13 of the first and Landeskog at 2:10 of the second. Jets had a couple of shots on goal during their first power play chance. Weren't able to score. Now working on their second opportunity. They've got 4 power play goals in the previous 4 games against Colorado. Jets have been able to pick up points in all 4 of the previous games against the Avs. 3-0-1 in those games. One win for the Avs came in this building in a shootout. Behind the net, Little trying to center. Caught in skate and then slapped down the ice by Cleese of the Avalanche. One minute to go in the Landeskog penalty. Pass to center for Shifley. Push the puck free. Shot made by Trouba. And the puck behind the net. As O'Reilly finds an opening and able to fling the puck down the ice. Stafford retrieved. Tanguay on the forecheck. Pass comes behind the net for Jacob Trouba. Landeskog serving a penalty. In the first period, McLeod, by the way, with those 2 minutes added to his season total. Trouba's shot knocked down. McLeod has tied his career high in penalty minutes. Shifley. Shoot saved by Barrett. And the puck is out of the zone. Even just 5 seconds to go in Landeskog's penalty.
And this is one of the areas, as you mentioned, Dustin Byfuglien not in this game, where Byfuglien has been a killer against the Avalanche in these sort of situations. The power play, that big shot from the point.
Winnipeg did get 3 shots on their power play opportunity, but they did not score. Landeskog is out of the penalty box. And we are still sitting at 0-0. Duchesne turns, moved out in front, stopped with the stick by Pavlik. Mitchell stick handles the way to the blue line. Shifley trying to slow him up. The Avs retain possession. Shot around to the corner. Jerome McGinley reverses back. Trouba trying to stay with him. Pass comes to Duchesne. Pop right back up to his skates. Starts to the corner. Reverses again. Pass to the point. Goes to Holden. Far side for McGinley. Cross ice for Duchesne. Protects the puck well. Pass back for McGinley. Intercepted. And to Lustig. The puck in, but it apparently hit a Winnipeg player on the bench. And so the puck has gone out of play. Visit your Colorado Kia dealers today to discover Kia's full lineup of high-quality, stylish, dependable vehicles. Go to ColoradoKiaDealers.com and learn more.
There's a puck coming up the ice. Like, it's always amazing to me when I do the games down below. You know, the puck goes into the bench and they flinch. When they're on the ice, they're diving head first into those pucks and they're coming right through the slot area. They don't even, doesn't bother them the least. They shoot one over the boards. Holy cow, they're diving for cover.
It's funny that mindset changes. To the point, shot by Stewart, and that one pinged wide. And injured at Matthew Perreault. Struggling to get up to his skates. He still has not made it. In fact, he's not going to be able to skate off the ice. They have to blow the whistle dead because Perreault could not get to his skates, Peter, and get off the ice. He was starting to crawl, and the Winnipeg Jets had possession of the puck, so the referee blew the play dead.
Now, did this shot hit him? Here comes, he goes down, and the puck comes through. No, Mike, he had hurt himself on the way down right there. You see that he is, no, it doesn't hit him at all.
Well, he has missed some games this year with injuries.
19 games with a leg injury, and boy, I'll tell you,
that's a key guy for them.
You're absolutely right, because when he was out, he's that little added component. You play the point, the power play. You can put him at center. You can put him on the left wing. He adds to the depth offensively. He's got 18 goals. That ties his career high. So, you know, despite missing 19 games, so this is the danger late in these seasons. Like they're playing so hard.
Covered by Pavlik. He's that kind of player, too. The Winnipeg Jets have a lot of big, tough, strong guys. He doesn't fit into that mold, but he's that shifty. He can do a lot of things out there to help those big guys score goals.
And look what kind of year it has been for Paul Maurice's Winnipeg Jet team. They are within one win, and that win was in Atlanta. They already have the record for the years that they have been in Winnipeg, but they'd love to get that mark and move to 43 wins. Mike, number one, because they'd be in the playoffs.
You mentioned the previous leg injury to Perreault. Well, we've just gotten the word that Brad Stuart now will not return to this game. It is a leg injury to Brad Stuart. At center, puck carried in by Landeskog. Taken away, flicked into the center zone. O'Reilly plays the puck back into the Avalanche end. Starting away is Barry. Is to O'Reilly. Nice long pass for Tanguay. Goes it into the Winnipeg zone. Thorburn intercepts. Drags the puck into the neutral zone. Stolen back by the Avs. Alex Tanguay. Alex Tanguay, 54 points this season, 22 goals. At center, Jan Hayden. The pass across, Barry. It's Joey Hishin. He shoots, slowed up, and Pavlik able to cover in the crease. We've got nearly 7 minutes of play in the second period, and it's still 0-0 by Stevenson Automotive. All right, listen to this one. This is a good question. Ryan O'Reilly scored a game-winning goal for both his first career regular season goal and first career playoff goal. It's been done another time, and what Avalanche player did it? C1 Peter Forsberg, C2 Nathan MacKinnon, or C3 Brian Wilsey? Text to 53548 to win the Avalanche prize package.
Yeah, for Ryan O'Reilly.
Save made by Pavlik as it goes off his chest and then drops into the glove.
For Ryan O'Reilly, of course, it came his rookie year, 2009, against the Montreal Canadiens, the regular season one. And it was very exciting, but nowhere near as exciting as his first playoff goal. The overtime winner against San Jose in a 1-0 win. I mean, this place was just rocking that night.
So I'm guessing what spurred it, trying to research that question, the fact that Joey Hishin's first NHL goal was the game winner. Now if he can get a playoff goal in his first goal as a game winner, he would be the third guy to do it. Scheifele plays the puck back into his own zone. Mark Stewart gets a return pass. Up the board, shoveled in. Scheifele goes down to the ice. Hayda gets on top of him, pins him to the ice. The puck comes free. And at the center comes Duchesne. Mitchell to his right. And the pass deflected by Stafford. Duchesne wins the race to the puck behind the net. Here in this period, 4 shots for Winnipeg, 2 for the Avalanche. Centered for Mitchell, and it slipped away. And in fact, got by Redmond out to center. Former Winnipeg Jet. Finds a man open in the middle of the ice, and that is Joey Hishin. Pass across, slapped in around the boards. Dropped that by Stewart, got the puck out of the zone, and hustling after it. Lowry fans on his shot. And the puck turned around. Stepniak back behind, down low, tipped wide by Lowry. Drops the puck in the corner. Reverse back to the near side. Smacked up the board. Pass to the side of the net. Lowry rifles a pass to the point. Shot glove save made by Berra. His 13th save of the game.
Well, Michael, we were talking about before tonight's game for Joey Hishon. And this, we're going to see his first goal. And Marc-Andre Cliche does a nice job of stripping that puck away and getting to Hishon. Mike does a couple of things. One, I think you and I could both say that was Joey Hishon's best game as an Avalanche.
No doubt about it.
Not even a question.
Yep.
So he's getting better as this goes along. He's showing what you can do, and he can learn how to bleed in the National Hockey League. So that's part of the process.
And take a face full of water and skate by your own bench.
Absolutely, that's all part of it too. But Mikey was 6-0 in faceoffs in that game, and he was 2-1 in the first period. So that's 8-1 the last couple of games.
The Avalanche so far in this game, Peter, they are at 75% on faceoffs in this game. As Berra covers the puck after making yet another save, his 14th of the game.
And this is Tyler Meyer, Mike. And you know, you and I were talking before tonight's game. That was this was, in my mind, absolutely without question the biggest trade of the year. I mean, of the regular season. There were just you don't make bigger trades, but it was a pure hockey trade. I mean, there were just big parts going from either side, and Vander Kane is going to be a good player with the Buffalo Sabres and with all the things they have, going on. But this Tyler Meyer is a special defenseman. He's
Rookie of the year.
Yeah, and he's 6'8", he's 220 pounds, and everyone says he's got quick feet. I don't. It doesn't make any sense.
Got big feet, we know that.
I was going to say, if you just said he's got large feet, I get it. And he has really, since getting to Winnipeg, Mike, his game has just really calmed down. Now, they've got a good defensive core. They've got a good team. Buffalo, of course, has been struggling. But Mike, 23 games coming in tonight, 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points in 23 games, and that's a ton for a defenseman now, but a +9 on top of it.
A guy who clearly needed a change of scenery.
Yeah, absolutely. And so did Vander Kane. He's going to be much happier there in Buffalo. It just, sometimes things just don't work in cities for players.
Big draft choices exchange as well. I mean, it was just a large hockey world shaking trade.
Bogosian, former third pick by the Atlanta. I mean, there was just stuff flying. I mean, it didn't stop the list of players.
These lucky fans upgraded from the Ram Trucks fan zone to lower bowl seats courtesy of Ram Trucks. You can purchase tickets in section 362 for your chance to win and upgrade to the official truck of your Colorado Avalanche.
Like in watching this game, the shots right now are at a 15-7. But I don't get a desperate nature to the game right now for Winnipeg. So it's been an interesting game to watch, but they do get a power play right now.
And the penalty called on Jordan Caron for hooking at 9:34.
Number 27.
Power play number 3 for Winnipeg.
Time of the penalty, 9 minutes 34 seconds of the second period.
It's an Avalanche team, Peter, that of late, they haven't taken a lot of penalties in games. In fact, within the last couple of weeks, a couple of games, they didn't take any penalties.
That's the way it is around the National Hockey League. And I remember talking to Joe Quenneville about the situation with all the power plays that were going to come in 05-06 when the leagues came back and they made all the rule changes. He said the players will adapt, and this is one of the areas where they've really adapted.
Shot in the save made by Berra. 1:20 left in the Caron penalty.
We've been talking about Pavelec, but let's talk about Berra here. You go back now, Mike, and as we mentioned, for him, in the last 4 games, he's 2 wins, 2 losses. But coming into tonight, he had a .184 goals against average and a .944 save percentage in those 4 games. Now, there were 3 starts and 1 relief.
Pavelec will set the puck. 1:10 to go in the Caron penalty. Power play number 3 for Winnipeg in a scoreless second period. Dumped in, Berra. The puck around. Cut off at the half boards. Again, for the Avs. Take some time off the clock. Puck comes free in the slot. Shot! What a save by Berra. Came out and challenged Thorburn. Got that blocker up in time. Flowers behind the net for Leak. Off the boards, back to the point. Harrison shoots through a lot of bodies, but missed. Scheifele to the point. Back to Scheifele. Down low, shot, and flicked away. The Avs had the puck. Ryan O'Reilly Skating out to center. It around the boards.
That was a good save, wasn't it, Mike? I mean, the way he just challenged it.
Came right out.
The puck was completely to his left in the corner. Quick pass out front, and he was square to the shooter.
Like Wheeler demonstrating his speed, but couldn't get a shot. And the Jets with 3 shots on net, but they've had 3 chances on the power play, and they really haven't had much scoring chances on those power plays. Credit the Avs penalty killing, keeping this a scoreless game here in the second.
Back to the Pepsi Center. Second period action still scoreless between Colorado and the Jets. We are joined right now, special guest Joey Hischen's parents all the way from Stratford, Ontario, Joe, Sue, and girlfriend Dory. And Joe, you guys were here when Joey scored his first ever NHL goal. I can't imagine what that was like as a father. Just tell me, just walk me through it.
It was unbelievable. Just to play in this league is something, and to see him score a goal and be the game winner and first star, it's almost, you know, too much, can't understand, or, you know, too many words to describe how good it was. And we're so glad that we're here to see that, and it's just incredible.
Absolutely, you guys will be here all week. Now, we know, Joey, it's been a tough path, this tough journey to the NHL. Does that make it even more special knowing all the hurdles that he had to overcome?
Absolutely. He persevered through stuff that I think a lot of people may have quit and just decided that was it for him. But he always said right through the whole thing that he was going to play, continue playing, play in the NHL. And here he is. And it's crazy.
It's great that he's here. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, back up to you.
Oh, boy, that's to warm your heart. That's crazy. It's nuts. And just how proud he must be. Think of all those practices those parents drove him to when he was little. And now they get to watch him play in the NHL and do what he did the other night. What a wonderful, heart-warming moment.
And Mike, you and I are both lucky enough to be parents. And, you know, to know what he went through. I mean, he got hammered. I mean, the concussion lasted through one whole full season, and then he was banged up again the following year when he was able to come up. He couldn't find the answer, and then he did a bunch of stuff, just a little bit outside the box, and was able to get himself healthy. And he's back with the Lake Erie, and when the Avalanche gave him a call to come up, he's played well, and he's played better, and with the more ice time that he's had.
Stewart over the near side from Little behind the net. Ladd couldn't get a shot away, but still holds on to the puck. Here's the Frolik over towards Little. Back behind from Ladd. Redmond staying with him. Ladd makes a pass. Shot off the side of the net by Frolik. And Frolik to the corner with the puck. Pass back to the point for Stewart. Slid across, shot, deflected wide of the net. It comes free for Little. And the pass back to the point. Stewart broken up by Tanguay and flipped out of the zone. 6:10 to go in the period. Long pass.
Well, there's Perreault. That's good news for the Winnipeg Jets. Just good news for him.
Flip off the boards by John Mitchell. Sherratt puck in for Winnipeg to the Colorado zone. All of a sudden, the shot total starting to really inch their way towards favoring Winnipeg. Are out shooting Colorado 11-2 in this period and 19-7 in the game. Back to center, off of Duchesne's stick and into the Avalanche zone. Played behind the net. Haven. And back to Tyson Barrie.
Oh, Mike, Perreault gave it a shot. Boy, that shows you what a hockey player is all about. He wanted to come out. He wanted to give it a try. It just didn't feel good. And he headed to the locker room.
Well, for Paul Maurice, he knows he needs 2 points. Will get him into the playoffs. We're scoreless in the second. Pulled hard backs.
Well, for the Colorado Avalanche, this group of 6 is the only group of 6 on any club that has 50-plus points. There are 4 clubs, Mike, that have 5 guys with 50-plus points. And the names that you don't see on that list are obviously Nathan MacKinnon because he's been injured. Gabe Landeskog right now leads the Avalanche with 58 points. Or Eric Johnson, who Mike was having a career year goal scoring wise anyway for the Avalanche before he was injured.
5:11 left in the second. Scoreless game. Joey Hisham. Up the boards, blocked, reverse back around. Each team has lost a player to an injury in this game. For the Avalanche, Brad Stewart in the first period, leg injury. He had been told he will not return to the game. Just saw Matthew Perreault for Winnipeg Jets attempt to come back on the ice and then go back to the Winnipeg Jets locker room. Pass to center, off the party, and the Tanguay. The puck into the corner in the Winnipeg zone. Scheifele moves the puck around. Kept in by the Avalanche. Kick back to the blue line. Shot around the boards by Redmond, the side of the net, and O'Reilly frees up the puck. Makes the pass. Landeskog again with it for the Avalanche. Finds Tanguay. Stick handles himself out into the neutral zone. Pass back for Hayda. Slipped away from him. 4 minutes remaining. And Duchesne just onto the ice. Makes the pass back for Redmond. That's going with 5 defensemen. We'll have to the remaining part of this game. Long shot off the end of the glove of Catholic. Turned around the boards. Mitchell. The blue line. Snaps the puck around for Duchesne. Gets checked by Sherratt. And Lowry tied up behind the into the Winnipeg net by Jerome McGinley, who gets the puck back from Duchesne. Lost it. Fighting back for it. Barry dumped it back in to lay offside on the Avalanche. All that effort, they didn't get a shot on net. Still with just 2 in this period. 3 minutes to go. Shot. That one by Sherratt missed wide.
That just snapped his stick in half.
I thought it actually broke the stick, the shot. Just snapped it right in half. I wasn't sure if that's what I saw, but that had to have been it, right?
Unless it was slashed and broke. From our angle, it looked like it went right through the stick.
With the puck. Handled by Trouba. He shoots. Landeskog got in the way. Into the corner.
Here downstairs, Mike, that indeed it was holding slashing. So
behind the net. Center. There's a chance. Big save made by Reto Barrett. Point blank opportunity. And Barrett comes up huge. Pass goes to Ladd. Little shoots it around the boards. Ladd gets it again. Turns and shoots the puck. Kind of blocked. Then trips up. That allows the Avs to flick the puck to center. Trouba smashed it back. Down the last 2 minutes of the period. Dumped in by McLeod. Trouba hit by Hisham. And the puck comes straight from McLeod, trying to wrap it around. But Pavlik, right up against the post, makes the save.
good work by Cody McLeod right here. Again, sort of a revamped line for the Avalanche. It was on the ice for the game-winning goal. McLeod on the left side, Cliche on the right, and Hishon in the middle. But here's Mike. That's 2 point-blank saves where it's the positioning and the square to the shooter that allowed him to make those saves. There was opening, Mike, but he was covering everything that he could.
Oh, the size, he can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cover a lot.
When the farther he moves out, the less there is to see.
Bouncing puck behind the net. Chased down to the corner. Laid up the wing. Scheifele turned it back behind. Pass back for Barry. puck to the corner. Duchesne with it. 1:20 to go. Shot by Hayda and steered aside by Pavlik. Out to center ice, Wheeler. Puts the puck through. And Mitchell comes to center ice for the puck. We're down the last minute of the period. Cuts across, he shoots wide for that. Scramble in the corner. 50 seconds to go in the period. Jets almost gave it away right in front of their own net. Goes back to the point for Redmond. He shoots, and a pad save by Pavlik with a lot of bodies in front of him. Hishin pinned in the corner. 35 seconds to go in the period. Pass back for Redmond. Holden shoots, deflects over to Redmond. Down the slot for Cleach. He gets tied up, and the puck is bounced out to center. 20 seconds to go in the period. Cleach winds and shoots, and the save made by Pavlik. And a little something happening. You can expect Cody McLeod right in the middle of things for the Avalanche. U2 is coming to Pepsi Center on June 7th. Go to altitudetickets.com to get your tickets today.
Cody McLeod might give the goaltender a little slap with the stick on the pads just to say, you know, not so much hello as
good luck.
But you know, Cody McLeod said something this morning very interesting. That, you know, this is one of those divisional teams, and they're going to be playing them again next year. And this is one of those. This is, Mike, I got all the numbers in the world that you want to show you that this is the toughest division in hockey going away.
Holden comes back. 5 seconds to go. No icing. Going to wind down the clock. That's it. Wow. Tough to score goals in this league.
It is tough. And the Avalanche again. Another solid defensive period. Wasn't a lot of chances, but Reto Berra, Mike, keeps playing well for the Avalanche.
He did. The penalty killing was good for the Colorado Avalanche. They had to kill 2 penalties during the period, and Reto Berra with another 12 saves in this game, and we are at 0-0 after 2 periods of play. So headed to the third, even. Stay tuned for highlights and more on the Subaru Intermission Report. Old Chicago, with 36 beers on tap and pizza so good that it's in the name. Experience the pizza and craft beer authority. Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Arby's. Try the Arby's delicious Gyros sandwiches. Your choice of tender beef or turkey gyros wrapped in a pita bread pocket. Get 2 for just $6. And by the Ford Explorer. It's time you did your exploring. Ford Explorer. Go further. We're going to the third period in Denver at Pepsi Center. No score between the Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche. All right, let's take a look at our Lexus on the ice. And we've been talking a lot about the Western Conference, Peter, but boy, there's some fun stuff going on in the Eastern Conference standings.
Well, the Boston Bruins right now are out. They have 1 game remaining. The Boston Bruins, Mike, they play at Tampa Bay. But Ottawa is in right now. Pittsburgh, who's in free fall. They are just, I mean, Mike, they are really struggling. They've lost so many defensemen. They're hanging on. What a day Saturday is going to be as far as that Eastern Division. But the New York Islanders and Detroit both clinch playoff spot with what's happened in tonight's game.
And for Winnipeg, we've been talking tonight, Peter, about they won 2 points to clinch a playoff spot, but they can also get in if Los Angeles loses in regulation to the Calgary Flames, and they're losing right now. Now, Colorado scores in the third period. You scored with Subway. Go to your local Subway restaurant tomorrow for any regular 6-inch sub for just $3 after 3 o'clock. Last time we checked, it was the end of the second period, and Calgary winning 2-0 over the Los Angeles Kings. And if that's the case, Winnipeg would be in, Calgary would be in, and the defending champion Los Angeles Kings out of the playoffs.
And with what's happened tonight, Mike, now the St. Louis Blues win 2-1. They clinch the Central Division.
Nashville lost.
Nashville lost 5 in a row that Nashville has lost.
Including Tuesday night here in this building. A 3-2 regulation loss to the Avalanche. Avs trying to make it 2 wins in a row. They can beat the Winnipeg Jets in this game. Guy in the net, Mitchell with the puck. Handoff goes to Hayda. Shot around the boards. Duchesne. Sets out in front. He shoots off the side of the Winnipeg net. Lucy, pass to center. Stepniak couldn't make a pass through. Barry broke it up. And smacked back into the Avs zone by Stepniak. Carried in by Tanguay. Came out of the zone. O'Reilly shoots it in. Delay offside call against the Colorado Avalanche.
Not for Matt Duchesne, Mike. You know, you look at his career and a couple of areas where he's really improved. He really improved defensively. His first 4 years in the league, Mike, as a group, you add them all together, he's -30. The last 2 years he's been +12, and he takes great pride in it. I mean, he has worked hard to become a much better defensive player. We see through plays like that all the offense you want, but he wants to be that guy that's out there in key moments at the end of the game.
Pass to center ice for Wheeler. Closes in on him. Wheeler goes down. And in front of the net, Gennon makes a pass up ice for Tanguay. Skates in. Pass towards O'Reilly. Fed away. Pushed around the boards. And the puck travels all the way back into the Colorado zone. He passed to Joey Hishon. Poke checked away. Hayden back for the puck for the Avs. Up the boards. Hardy, defenseman for Winnipeg, keeps it in play. Makes the handoff to Frolik. Scoop the puck behind the Avs net. Bump to the corner. Hayden. Up and out. Knocked back in. Delay offside on Winnipeg. Pass goes across. Redmond through the middle. Tipped by Hishon. Harrison's pass. Little. Carried in by Ladd. He shoots and off the end of the glove of goaltender Resto Vera. And finally the puck comes free. Played behind the net by Gennon for Barry. Here in this period, the Avs with 1 shot. Jets with 1 shot on net. We are still scoreless. 3.5 minutes played in the 3rd period. Good pass to center. Launched in off the chest and then dropped to the ice. And before Toulouse could get to it, Berra had it covered.
Of course, Winnipeg Jets now in the Avalanche division, Mike. But look how tough this division is. When you look at clubs, teams over 90 points. In the Central Division, there's 7 teams, 6 of them are over 90 points. Like, there are 5 clubs in the National Hockey League with over 100 points outside of the Central Division. 4 teams in the Central Division have 100 points. Minnesota got their 100th point tonight. And Minnesota wins their last 2 games. They would be the 5th team in this division.
My best example of this is the Dallas Stars. They're not going to make the playoffs. If you took away their record against the other Central Division opponents, they would be on pace for 107 points this season and in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Mike, you just take it and you look at it as far as the bottom club in each of the divisions. Atlantic Division 54, Pacific Division 56, Metro 69. The Central Division, the bottom place club has 86 points
and potential to be at 90.
And potential to be at exactly. And I mean, that is the toughest division in hockey by 100 miles. I mean, you look at that's just the way it is, and that's where the Avalanche are, and that's the challenge. It's not just challenging to make the playoffs; it's challenging to be that club inside the Central Division.
And you look at it and you think, okay, next year, to me, we don't see a team in this division on the decline.
I mean,
Dallas is getting better. Winnipeg obviously is getting better. The Avalanche have it in their mind. They're going to get better. Chicago, they're still going to have, their guys are still in their prime years. Nashville has gotten so much better. St. Louis, they look like they got a lot of guys that can compete for years. So this division, Peter, not getting easier next season. Leak pass to center ice. Trouba, wide, shoots, missed the net. Bounces into the corner. Calusi to the point. Banged around behind the net. The puck comes free. Slater, Thorburn, shot saved by Barrett. The puck back up the slot, held in. Played off the boards, but Landeskog for the Avalanche. Finds Hayda, threads a pass through for Tanguay. Scooped away, and Mark Stewart. Waves the puck around for Trouba. Turns away. Makes a lead pass. Brought in down the wing by Wheeler. Skates to the corner. Excuse me, it's Ladd actually. Takes the shot. That's broken up. And McLeod, center. Over the line for Hischier. Ladd on him. Hischier stays up on his skates. Turns and shoots. That's blocked into the corner. Ladd lifts the puck to center ice. Gone 6 minutes through the third period. Still a scoreless game. 25 shots for Winnipeg. 14 out for the Avalanche. Tanguay brings the puck in. Lost it. And it's held up by the goaltender, Andre Pavlik. We'll come back in a 0-0 third period. No question, brought to you as always by Stevenson Automotive. Ryan O'Reilly scored a game-winning goal for both his first career regular season goal and playoff goal. This has happened another time, and it happened for Brian Wilsey.
I had a great opportunity to meet Brian Wilsey when he was with the Avalanche. He was going up and down from the minors, and we stayed together. He was going back to the minors, and I was going on a different direction than the team. And we spent a day in I want to say Carolina, and just what a nice guy. And I always remember who did the Washington Capitals have Ovechkin room with his first year? Brian Wilsey, because he was such a good guy, and he was the kind of guy that you could trust to be with a guy like Ovechkin, who was at that time just learning the ropes of North America.
Got by Hayda, and a tip in front of the net sends the puck wide. O'Reilly for the Avs. Back to Hayda. He shoots. Rising shot. Finds the glass. Caroms around. And lifted away by the Jets. 13 minutes to go in the third period. Holden makes the pass. Zipped up the wall by Hayda. Taken back by the Jets. Wheeler comes in. Holden impedes his progress. And Scheifele is down to the ice. Puck scored straight. Forget it. Over towards Holden. Backhanded up and out. Shot down. Punched out to center by Trouba. Stafford to Wheeler. Wide. Shoots. Missed. Up the boards. It's a delay offside for Winnipeg. That gives the Avs a little room to get out to center. Holden. To Barry. Over towards O'Reilly. Puck teed up. Rimmed around. And comes out to center ice. Jets have got it. They got an opportunity happening here. Shot missed high by Ladd. A rare odd man rush developed there.
Yeah, it's been solid defensively and not many of that up and down action.
We haven't seen much 2-on-1s or even 3-on-2s happening in this game.
Winnipeg is really changing lines quickly right now. No more than 30 seconds.
The Avalanche is the Duchesne line out. Lowry, pass. pass across. Lucy. Pass in front, looking for a redirect, but puck hopped straight to the board. McGinley couldn't clear it out of the zone. Harrison over towards Myers. His shot got through, saved by Berra, and the puck cleared out. Sherratt over towards Myers, lost the puck. Duchesne centered in front and tipped wide by Mitchell. Punch to center, 2-on-1 for the Jets. Stafford, pass, broken up in front of the net. Zach Redmond got his stick down and broke up the pass on the 2-on-1.
That was beautifully read by Redmond.
Long pass at center. Puck escaped by Tanguay. Handoff O'Reilly. Shoot! Save by Pavlik. And Stewart for the Jets. Little support from Shifley. Lost it. Shot by Landeskog. Off the glass. Puck up in the air. Stewart. Sends that puck in the air. Redmond behind his back pass. Forget it. Halfway through the third. 10 minutes to go. 0-0 game. By the way, we're just beginning things in the third period in Calgary. And it's still 2-0 in favor of the Flames over the Kings. Well, Jets had some chances, and the Avalanche did as well. But it's still scoreless. And you'll get 6 Buddy tickets for only $49 down. You can lock in the guaranteed lowest price to ski or ride the best mountains in Colorado, Utah, and Tahoe next winter. Visit epicpass.com to buy yours today. Another penalty on the Avalanche. Joey Hishon called for unsportsmanlike conduct at 10-11. This becomes the 4th power play chance for the Jets. But the Avalanche penalty killing has been superb, and they have the puck. Cleat fires! Save! Rebound! Oh, man! There was a chance there for Cody McLeod. But it goes wide. And Ryan Little shoots the puck in. Jets on the power play. Little's pass to the point from Myers. Stafford. His shot. Tipped. Wheeler. Myers shoots, tipped wide of the net. That one skimmed wide. Stafford. Centered shot. Another save made by Barrett. And the clear bounces by Myers.
You got to get a feeling by a little bit that Winnipeg's used to this. 2-0 in Minnesota 2 games ago. 1-0 last game against St. Louis, and now 0-0 deep into the third period here.
Shifley. Split through the defense. Man's on a pass in the corner. To the point for Trouba. And penalty killing has been good in this game. Still need another 50 seconds to go. O'Reilly with Tanguay. Back to O'Reilly. Saved by Pavlik. Oh, boy. Big save there by Pavlik.
Like just after we said there hadn't been many breaks, both clubs have had a couple of quick bursts of offense. Here's McLeod comes in, and he gets a piece of it. But again, Pavlik, an outstanding job. Here's the Winnipeg opportunity, and they're trying to bounce it in, but Berra again strong, and here's the last one. This is a really nice save by Pavlik, because O'Reilly is red hot right now. He got real confidence in his shot. The 7 goals the last 12 games. Pavlik, I mean, wow, that's a big time save.
35 seconds to go in Hishon's penalty. Stafford cuts in. Loses the puck. Cleared out. 20 seconds remaining. Another rush. Tyler Myers got a lot of time here on this power play. Wheeler shoots and misses the net. Back around the boards. Down the wing for Wheeler. Didn't get the pass through. That's going to do it. That is 4 penalty kills in this game for the Avalanche. They had just 1 shot, Winnipeg did, on that last opportunity.
But Mike, for us watching Winnipeg now for a couple of years, is there a better big man skater?
No. They didn't blame Blake Wheeler. None.
I mean, he's
number 1 on the list.
Nearly 6'5", and he just flies.
to go in the third. O'Reilly, a few moments ago, denied on a short-handed bid. Barry down the boards. O'Reilly, and a one-timer try by Tanguay went off the heel of the stick. Stewart being hounded by Tanguay, and Thorburn pushes the puck into the Colorado zone. 7 minutes to go. Pass off the boards. The puck trickles into the Jet zone. Off the glass and out. Duchesne picks up the puck, sprints in, makes the pass. McGinley moves the puck to Lowry. Squeeze the puck to the corner. Myers up the boards, tipped in, and taken by Frolik, cutting to the front of the net. He's there, he shoots, the save by Berra. And the Avs come out to center, 3-on-2. Holding. Back in front for Mitchell, but it's spun wide. We haven't seen this urgency in this game until now. And just to keep updating people who don't have the opportunity to look, 15 minutes to go in the third. Calgary leading LA 2-0. Calgary wins. They are in the playoffs, and so is Winnipeg. Coming after the puck, Seifert. Backhanded around. Hisson starts to the corner. Cuts away with the puck. Centering pass, broken up by Wheeler. And Barry steals the puck back at center. Flips it across. Shot in center ice by the Avalanche. Marty leaves the puck in the corner. McLeod with a nice hit. Well, the action picking up here in the third period. Pass up ice for O'Reilly. Shoots it wide. Snapped around. Frolik. Gates to center. Long pass across. Slapped ahead by Little. We are now under 5 minutes left to go. Berra makes the save right at the post. O'Reilly trying to get out of the zone. Sends it off the glass. It did get out to center ice. Punched away. Landeskog leans into Little. Puck turned behind the net. Pass. Tipped down the ice, and Berra covers the puck for a face-off in the Avs zone. No score in the third period. 0-0 with 4.5 minutes to go. Luxury has an address. Koenig Lexus invites you to see the full line of Lexus all-weather drive sedans and luxury utility vehicles for 2015. They are available at Koenig Lexus of Greenwood Village.
Just looking around like my little stat sheet here, there's so much going on. St. Louis is now tied with Anaheim for most points in the Western Conference. It looked like it was a lock.
Centering pass, broken up, back out to center ice. Well, that would mean something to perhaps the Winnipeg Jets team. Let's say
who they're going to play.
What's happening now?
Yes.
If they finish in 8th, would they play St. Louis? Would they play Anaheim? And you know, we talked to Kevin Cheveldayoff, the general manager of the Winnipeg Jets, before the game, and he goes, "I'm not even thinking about that."
He doesn't care one bit.
Just get in. But we can speculate as to what would be a good matchup for the Winnipeg Jets if they do get in. Would Anaheim or St. Louis be the better team to play? Who would you rather play in that first round? Avalanche and Winnipeg. 3:30 to go. Here's a 2-on-1. This could be a big play here. Pass, shot, and a tip by Hayden. Sends it wide. Centered in the slot. Broken up by Iginla. Back to Trouba. He shoots the puck wide of the net. Well, there's two times, 2-on-1s, that Winnipeg did not get a shot on net late here in this third period. Didn't even get a shot. Barron turns the puck around. 3 minutes left to go. Trouba turns and shoots. The puck deflects high off the glass. Still in play. Rifled around to the corner. Trouba keeps the puck in. Comes to Lowry. Centered for Toulouse. It's loose in front. Back up the boards. And crunched out to center ice. Comes back in towards the net. Barron will leave it for a Hayden to take. 2:25 remaining. Out to center. And the puck deflects towards the Winnipeg bench, out of play. Time for tonight's recap, delivered to you by Jimmy Johns. Well, no goals to show you. Reto Berra has been a big reason there have been no goals. He has faced 32 shots in this game, 32 saves for Reto Berra. Several of them point blank for the Jets. And we're down to the last 2 minutes and 15 seconds in the third period. Barron to center ice. Flips across for Wheeler. Trailed by Scheifele. He takes a hit from Holden. And the puck circles around. Winnipeg trying to hold the puck inside the zone. Scheifele got it along the goal line. Threw it back to the point. Giroux down the boards for Scheifele. Into the corner for Frolik. Behind the net, rolls up the wall. Stafford gives to Frolik. Turns and shoots off the skate of Gannon. 90 seconds to go. Bounced in on Pavlik. Steers the puck wide. Giroux to Trouba. Down the boards, tipped in. Jets have it. Ladd shoots, the save by Barron. Bouncing puck, still free. Barry takes it for the edge. Long pass in center. Trouba stepped up, but the puck got away. Duchesne moves the puck to Frolik. Fires it in. 1 minute to go. Steal by Trouba. He shoots, and Barron came out and made the save. What? That Jacob Trouba.
Yeah, oh my.
Good player, isn't he?
He's a tremendous player. He's just going to, 2 or 3 years from now, he's going to be one of those guys they're talking to the Norris.
The red line chopped in. Jets have got it again. Stepniak crushed in the corner, gets free away from Landeskog. In front, shot saved by Berra. 30 seconds left. By the way, the Los Angeles Kings have scored a goal. They're down to 10 minutes left in their game, Peter, and it's 2-1. You didn't think that the defending champs are going to go away without a fight, right?
Absolutely. We can talk about how many games they've played. Mike, the reason they play so many games, they just, that old idea of heart of a champion, they have it in spades. That's my club as far as like just grit and coming to play. So if they do happen to lose out, it won't be because they just gave it half an effort.
It won't happen easy. No. So 10 minutes left to go in that game. 2-1 to Calgary. In this one, we're down to 20 seconds left in the third period. Wheeler coming in. Wheeler, 15 seconds. He cuts a glove. Oh my goodness, what a save by Barron. Behind the net, Stafford with a puck. Pass over the far side point. Sherrod. Myers pounding his stick. He wants the chance. He steps wide. And he runs out of time. Reto Berra robbing Blake Wheeler.
But do you see what happened? A stick went inside of Reto Berra's skate, so he couldn't stand up. That whole time, Mike, when they're cycling it up high, Reto Berra could not stand up. What a play by Wheeler. This is that speed, and it's right there. But what a save. But then a stick somehow gets stuck. What a game by Berra. We were talking about, wow, did he play well again tonight.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to find out shortly who will win tonight's game. Scoreless after 60 minutes in Denver.
Was an ugly word.
Tonight's overtime being brought to you by Groove Subaru on Broadway or online at grooveauto.com.
Or Mike, or is it going to be overtime? They're having a look at this. They're back in Toronto, and boy, does this affect a lot of stuff, Mike.
Does it ever?
My gosh. Here's the overhead now. Ball right across. It's going to come from the top down to the bottom of the screen.
No, that didn't go in.
I don't believe it did. I think it hit off his toe right there and stayed out. But boy, that was close. And then someone got their stick jammed in there. That was, poor Reto Berra was flat on his rear end, Mike, and could not get himself up as he's trying to follow the play around. Here it is again.
I don't think that's a goal, Peter.
But Mike, but let us just say we have been fooled before. Remember one year, I think I was 2-13.
It's hard to see with those burgundy glasses you're looking through.
Looking through my Avalanche telescope.
Well, you're taking the certainly you need to take your time and make sure this is the correct call. Boy, there was a lot of discussion, Peter. I know I'm talking to a lot of my hockey friends after the game against Nashville. The whether or not they got to get a coach's challenge, whether that would look like Nashville had scored a goal.
At the 1948 mark of the third period, the puck did not cross the line. The call on the ice stands, no goal.
Yeah. So just as we thought, no goal, so we are going to overtime. Reto Berra, 37 saves.
Right, and some of them, I mean, absolutely.
That last one was fantastic.
Oh, it was great. It made a couple of saves in the second period. Another, I mean, truly solid game. I mean, a spectacular game at times.
So for Winnipeg, so much at stake, trying to get into the playoffs. As a franchise, haven't done it since the 2007 season. Shot saved by Berra. And all of Winnipeg holding its breath right now. See if they can get in. Ralph thought they saw a penalty there. Sherratt got his stick up into the face of Matt Duchene. Jets offside.
Here's the play. Shot right to the kisser. Matt Duchene voiced his disapproval, Mike, as he went to the bench.
Well, they have only gotten one power play in this game. Winnipeg had 4. We're going 4-on-4. We're in overtime for the Avalanche. They've got Landeskog, O'Reilly, Redmond, and Holden. And it's Landeskog with the puck. Checked away. Redmond pass across. Shot. It's blocked and turned out to center. The Jets this season 4-7 in overtime games. The Avalanche are 2-8. That's just the overtime portion. Doesn't count the shootouts. O'Reilly saved by Pavlik. O'Reilly walked right in, and for the second time, Pavlik robbing O'Reilly. Here come the Avs again. Puck picked up by Gettin, poke checked away, and carried up ice by Frolik. Gives it to Stafford. He has scored some big goals for the Winnipeg Jets since being acquired from the Sabres. To the point, Sherratt tees it up, he shoots, blocked, and the Avalanche have it. Tyson Barrie sends a cross-ice pass for Tanguay in front for Mitchell. Bouncing puck, here's a chance for Mitchell, and that's stopped. And tip still bouncing around. Put up the boards for Ladd. Tripped up, reaches back and takes the puck. They're letting them play here in overtime, aren't they, Peter?
Absolutely. That's usually one of those change of possession ones that they'll call.
Coming in, Duchene, and coming back, Little to break it up, but Duchene still with the puck. Trickles behind the net, Trickles again, he's got a man open in front, there's the pass to him. It was Holden who had snuck in, but the redirect went wide. We're halfway through overtime. Iginla towards Duchesne. Shot tipped by Holden, went wide. Pass up ice for Ladd. Poke checked away by Hayden. Center ice, Sherratt sends the pass down the slots. They're coming back. O'Reilly broke it up to Landeskog, and it bounces into the Winnipeg zone. Bounced around, Trouba. O'Reilly's on him. Trouba spins away, get a little room to skate. Cross ice pass. Stewart had it bounce on him. Slug to center ice. And the Avs have got it. We're down to just 1:45 left in overtime. Got in around the boards. Pavlik slows down the puck to the corner. And given back to the Avalanche by the Jets. They make a poor pass. Shot by Barrie, blocked. Redmond pass in front. That's stolen. Buried up ice by Trouba. Then he loses the puck. The Jets have not been much of a threat here in this overtime period. The Avalanche have had the better scoring chances. Especially O'Reilly's. Back to the point for Tyson Barrie. Tanguay. Shot tipped. And the puck is up into the screen, out of play.
Mike, what a smooth move by Ryan O'Reilly on this play. This is one-on-one. And Ryan O'Reilly, like you and I have seen it in practice. When he's coming down the ice, he has worked so hard on the individual puck skills. Mike, he doesn't have to look at the puck. Here's Johnny Mitchell just sliding out of the corner 1-on-3 and gets a real good opportunity. And Holden coming in from the point. That was the second time that Holden was down low and tipped the puck just wide that would have given the Avalanche the win.
Well, the Jets decided that they are going to use their timeout. But how about Reto Berra? 39 saves. That's a season high and most shots that he has faced this season. And he has stopped every one of them. Now, he hasn't been too busy here in overtime.
No, he hasn't been busy in overtime, but I mean, it has been his game tonight has just been outstanding for the Avalanche. I think maybe if you want to look at a turnaround game, you may have to go to that game against Edmonton, where we came in early. The next one in Vancouver. It was the next day. The Avalanche was back-to-back games, and he came in, and he was absolutely great in that game, and he has played really well.
Avalanche win the face-off, but then the puck comes free. 2-on-1 for the Jets. 2-on-1. Ladd shoots, save, rebound in the slot. There's a check, but Barrie came back and perhaps saved the game for the Avalanche. That looked like it was set up for the game winner for the Jets, didn't it?
It was wide open. He was taking his time, and he just got the puck poked away.
35 seconds left to go in this one. Out to center ice comes Tyson Barrie. He just made a great play defensively. Now trying to make it happen offensively. Leaves the puck for Jerome McGinley. Centers for O'Reilly. 20 seconds to go. Saucers a pass in front. Tip. Out to center. And a steal made by Mark Stewart. The big defenseman coming in. Dropped it for Wheeler. He cuts the front of the net. Circles, wrap around. Oh, and it spun through the crease and goes wide. 3 seconds. Shot kicked out by Berra. And we have got 65 minutes without a goal being scored in this one. Overtime. Couldn't decide the game, so we are going to have the Grube Subaru shootout.
Well, there was a little bit of everything. There was some good, solid defensive plays. This is the one we thought the puck goes up front of Tyson Barrie, who had been down at the other end. Here's a wraparound right at the end. Barrie gets his pad back.
Blake Wheeler at the end of regulation, at the end of overtime, had a chance each time to win the game for Winnipeg. But Tyson Barrie, wow, what a play, coming back, hustling. Well, both teams have winning records in the shootout. The Jets are 7-5, while the Avalanche are 9-4. And saw the note that in the history of the shootout, the Avalanche have the highest percentage of scoring goals of any team in the National Hockey League. Nobody offensively has done better than the Avs in shootouts.
And this is one of the things I think the National Hockey League, it's so exciting here, but this is not how they want games decided if it's going to mean a playoff spot. You know, this is why there's been talk of changes in overtimes for next season.
Well, see what the first shooter's O'Reilly. Twice in this game, it looked like he was ready to score on Pavlik. Can he do it? Third time's the charm, perhaps, for Ryan O'Reilly. He loves to go wide to his right and then cut back, make the goalie move. Backhander, score! And then that time he did it. Ryan O'Reilly. Boy, is he money now in the shootouts.
Right, and when you're watching this at home, he found the puck, and Mike, you don't know where to go. He makes you make that first move. You just drop, and then just the roll of the wrist is so impressive.
Blake Wheeler, twice he could have won the game. Once in regulation, once in overtime. He needs to score a big goal, slows down, and shoots that. Stopped by Berra. Boy, he came to almost a complete stop, tried to pick his spot, and then Berra stopped him.
Berra was just big in goal right there. You see how he didn't bite at all. He was just, what a nice save again.
Well, Matt Duchene can put a lot of pressure on Winnipeg. Matt Duchene trying to make it 2 for 2. Does! Matt Duchene scores the shootout goal. And now Winnipeg has to score on their next opportunity or the Avs win.
They have to go score, stop, score.
And they go to their captain, Andrew Ladd. For Winnipeg, he has to score to keep this going. He does it. The Avalanche win another shootout for the 10th time this season. They have won the Groove Subaru shootout. And for the Winnipeg Jets, they don't know if they're going to be in the playoffs.
Oh my goodness gracious.
They pick up 1 point, and now all they can do, tonight at least, is see what happens between Calgary and Los Angeles.
Wow. I mean, that was the first 50 minutes of this game, Mike. Really very, very solid defensive hockey by both clubs. But then it just opened up. A wild overtime, and the Avalanche win it again in a shootout to get Mike to 88 points on the season.
Just to update people, there's now 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game between Calgary and Los Angeles. 2-1 for Calgary. So Calgary trying to hold on for another 2.5 minutes to get in the playoff, and that would put Winnipeg in as well. Well, for the Avalanche, and they've come back after the day they got knocked out of the playoffs. That night, you throw that one out.
Right.
They've come back and they've won 2 straight games against teams that desperately wanted.
Oh, absolutely. Nashville came in here. Nashville, you know, you look at that, what that loss cost them. That cost them a chance for first place in the Central.
All right, let's listen in. Here's the announcement of tonight's selection of the 3 stars.